Welcome back, everyone, to today's Explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled to be your virtual professor today as we tackle what is arguably a massive rite of passage in your computer science journey, dynamic memory allocation. Today, we're diving deep into Module C07. We're going to master malloc together, step by step. So if you've ever felt kind of intimidated by pointers and memory management, take a deep breath. Don't worry. By the end of this lesson, you'll be dynamically allocating memory like a total pro. Let's just jump right in. Looking at our syllabus for today, we're going to cover duplicating strings, generating integer arrays, pulling off the ultimate string join, converting number bases, and finally, splitting strings by delimiters. All right, kicking things off with exercise 000, duplicating strings with malloc. Think of this one as your fundamental warm-up. Your objective is to reproduce the exact behavior of the standard C library function, strdup. The prototype you'll be building is char pointer ftr_strudup taking a char pointer src. Our goal here is simple, but absolutely crucial. We need to take a source string, figure out exactly how much space it takes up, and return a pointer to a brand new identical string sitting safely in dynamically allocated memory. It's incredibly important that we understand the difference between a shallow copy and a deep copy here. You can't just create a new pointer and set it equal to src. That's a shallow copy. They'd both be pointing to the exact same memory address. If the original gets modified or freed, well, your copy is totally ruined. Instead, we're using malloc to request fresh space on the heap to build a perfect clone, a true deep copy. So how do we actually pull off this deep copy in code? Well, here is your step-by-step blueprint. Step 1, measure the length of the source string. You obviously can't allocate memory if you don't know exactly how much you need, right? So you'll need to count the characters until you hit the null terminator. Step 2 is where the magic happens. Allocate the memory using malloc. Now, my biggest tip for you here, and students forget this literally all the time, is that you must allocate the string's length +1. Why? For the null terminator. Step 3, you copy the characters over one by one using a simple loop. And step 4, manually cap it off with that null terminator, /0. Listen to me on this one. If you forget that +1 during your allocation, you're going to read or write out of bounds, and you will get a segmentation fault. The memory system is unforgiving, so always account for that null byte. Moving right along to exercises 01 and 02, generating integer arrays. Now that we're properly warmed up with characters, we're shifting gears from strings to generating arrays of integers. In exercise 01, we're building a function called ft_range. The prototype is int pointer ftRange, taking an int min and an int max. Your task is to dynamically allocate an integer array and populate it with consecutive values, starting from a minimum value all the way up to a maximum limit. What's really interesting here are the specific boundary rules set by the assignment. You start at min, which is inclusive, meaning it goes right into the very first slot of the array, and you stop at max, which is exclusive, meaning max itself is not in the array. So how many actual elements are we allocating space for? It's simply the mathematical difference, max minus min. But remember, we aren't storing single-byte characters anymore, are we? We're storing integers. Therefore, you absolutely must multiply that max minus min difference by the size of an int when you call malloc to get the correct byte count. Also, pay close attention to your edge cases. If min is greater than or equal to max, the range is basically empty. In that scenario, don't allocate a thing, just return a null pointer immediately. A pro tip, always handle your edge cases first before you ever even think about calling malloc. Now, let's contrast that with exercise 02 and see how this builds into ft_ultimate range. This perfectly illustrates a key architectural difference in C programming. Notice how ft_range returns the array pointer directly to the caller, but ft_ultimate range, it returns an integer, specifically the size of the array, or a -1 if your malloc fails. Because the function's return value is already occupied by the size or an error code, we have to use a double pointer, range, as a parameter to pass the newly allocated array back out. Think about how you'd test this in your main function. You'd declare an integer pointer, let's say my_array, and then pass its address to the function. Inside the function, you dereference range once to assign your newly malloced array to it. This double pointer approach is a super common pattern in professional C programming for robust error handling. Okay, on to exercise 03, the ultimate string join. This is a classic programming challenge. We're gluing an entire array of individual strings together into one massive string, separated by a specific delimiter. Let's look closely at the prototype. char pointer, ft_string join. We have strs, which is our array of strings, essentially a 2D array of characters. We have size, which tells us exactly how many individual strings are inside that strs array. And finally, we have sep, the separator string that needs to be copied between every single word we're joining. This exercise brilliantly illustrates why you need meticulous planning before dynamically allocating memory. Step 1. Handle the edge case. If size is 0, the instructions specify you must return an empty string that can be freed. My advice? Do not just return null. Allocate one single byte of memory using malloc and immediately drop a null terminator in there. That way the caller can safely use free on it later without their whole program crashing. Step 2. Calculate the exact total length for your main allocation. You'll want a helper function to iterate through the array and sum up the lengths of all the base strings. To that sum, you absolutely must add the length of the separator string multiplied by size minus 1. Why size minus 1? Well, think about it. If you have 3 words, you only need 2 separators between them. It's a super common off by 1 error for students to add way too many separators. Step 3, malloc that massive total length, plus 1 for the final null terminator. And step 4, iterate through your array and concatenate everything together, appending the separator after every word except for the very last one. I want to pause right here for a quick professorly public service announcement. Always check if your malloc failed before writing to it. When you request memory, if the system happens to run out of heap space, malloc is simply going to return a null pointer. If you just assume it succeeded and immediately try to write data to that null pointer, your program is going to crash instantly with a memory violation. A simple conditional check right after your malloc call will save you hours of debugging pain. Practice safe memory management, folks. All right, let's step up to the heavy hitter of this module, Exercise 04, Converting Number Bases. Here's our prototype. In this exercise, you're taking a string representation of a number, formatted in one specific base, parsing it, converting it mathematically, and then allocating a brand new string to represent that exact same number in a completely different base. To give you a practical idea, imagine taking a string containing the binary number 1010, passing it through this function, and returning a newly allocated string containing the letter A to represent it in hexadecimal. It's combining complex string parsing, heavy mathematical division, and dynamic memory allocation all at once. The strict parsing rules are really what make this one tricky. Notice that you have to ignore initial whitespace characters and carefully resolve multiple plus or minus signs. If you see 3 minus signs in a row, that makes the number negative. 4 minus signs? That mathematically cancels out and becomes positive. My biggest tip for you? Split this logic into 2 distinct phases to preserve your sanity. Phase 1. Parse the incoming string into a standard C integer using the base_from rules. Phase 2. Take that standard integer, figure out exactly how many characters it's going to take up in the new base, malloc that space, and generate the new string using the base_2 rules. And don't forget to check for invalid bases right at the very start. If a base has duplicate characters, or a plus sign, or a minus sign, you gotta return null immediately. Keep your final output string completely clean, at most 1 minus sign for negative numbers and absolutely no plus signs. And that brings us to the final boss, Exercise 05, Splitting Strings by Delimiters. This is where you prove you truly understand pointers, arrays, and dynamic allocation. Looking at the prototype, notice the double pointer return type. That's because you're dynamically creating an array of strings. Essentially, you're taking one long read-only string and chopping it up into an array of smaller substring pointers based on a custom set of delimiter characters. Let's conceptualize this with a concrete example. Say your original string is Hello World C, and your char set. Your delimiters are a comma and an exclamation mark. Your function needs to scan that original string, find those boundaries, and construct a 2D array in memory. The result is an array containing pointers to the dynamically allocated strings, Hello, World, and C, but pay really close attention to that final element in the array. It's a null pointer. Since the returned array doesn't come with a handy size integer, that null pointer at the very end is literally the only way whoever calls this function will know when to stop reading the array. Do not forget to allocate space for it and assign it. Splitting a string can feel completely overwhelming at first glance, but breaking it down makes it totally manageable. Step 1. Write a helper function just to count the total number of valid words. Step 2. Use that count to malloc your main array of pointers. Remember to allocate space for your count plus 1 pointers to leave room for that final null terminator. Step 3 is usually where students get stuck, finding the lengths of individual words. You'll probably need a nested loop here. The outer loop moves through the main string looking for words. When it finds one, an inner loop advances through the characters of that specific word until it hits a delimiter or the null terminator, keeping a tally of the length. Once that inner loop stops, Boom, you have your length for that single word and you call malloc just for that string. Finally, step 4. Copy the characters into your newly allocated word, null terminate the word itself, and attach the pointer to your main array. Keep going until you finish, then cap the entire main array with a null pointer. To get that perfect grade, you've got to test your edge cases before submitting. Every single character in the char set string is a distinct separator. If your original string has consecutive separators, like 3 commas in a row, you treat them as a single boundary, just skipping right over all of them. The instructions explicitly state there should be absolutely no empty strings in your resulting array. If the string starts with delimiters or ends with delimiters, just skip them until you hit a real word character or the end of the string. Test these edge cases extensively because they are the #1 cause of segmentation faults during grading. And there you have it, the end of Module C07. You now have the blueprints to build incredibly complex and dynamic structures in memory using malloc. But I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. You know exactly how to request memory from the system now. But remember, every single byte you take must eventually be given back. How will you architect your future programs to guarantee you never leave a single memory leak behind? Think on that. Keep practicing, keep double-checking those pointers, and I'll see you in the next explainer.